Welcome back everyone, I'm Danny the Dinosaur Drawer, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to draw the head of the Scorpius Rex from Camp Cretaceous. I've got my pencil, my eraser, and some paper out, and later we will be doing a pen stage with a bunch of pens, so be sure to get your equipment out and we will begin the outline. So the head of the Scorpius Rex is going to be facing to the left, and we're going to put in a circle to represent the head. It's got a very box looking face. It's not very long. You could almost do like a square. It reminds me a little bit of Carnotaurus. And then we're going to draw the neck. So we're drawing out the head and neck pretty much. And maybe some of the shoulders. This very cool and highly requested dinosaur. It's got a bunch of quills and spikes, which look really cool coming out of the neck. Okay, so the head is going to be very different from most dinosaurs that we've drawn. It's going to have a line that goes up and down for the jawline. It's got a very blunt nose and snout. Its whole face looks pretty scrunched together. It's very compact. The eyes are going to be up here. It's going to have some pointy brow ridges, which remind me of Carnotaurus. Bunch of spikes. The head's going to slope downwards, down and backwards. And then of course it's going to have a bunch of teeth. So remember to draw lightly when you're doing your outline stage, so then it's easy to erase later or make changes. So it's got a thin, well I guess it's thick, but I guess a normal bottom jaw. It's thick in the back, but it looks much thicker because of all this lizard neck hanging down. All this skin. It's got a saggy throat. We're going to put a bunch of wrinkles in the neck because the neck is turning to the side. So we're facing forward right at the front of the body of Scorpius Rex, but the head is turned, so that's why it's going to have all these wrinkles. I'm going to have the shoulders. So it's basically like a bust of the Scorpius Rex. This outline looks pretty good. It's proportional and we got all the main components in the right spots. So we can move on to the next stage. So the teeth of the Scorpius Rex are similar to the Indominus Rex's teeth because they're all crooked looking and come in at different angles and sizes, like so. We're not going to be able to see much of the bottom teeth, at least in this picture. Let's put in a firmer line for the bottom jaw. This whole area is going to be shading, but we'll take care of that with our pens. The eye is going to have a bunch of wrinkles around it. And the pupil is going to be facing forward, like so. Have a bunch of wrinkles around the eye, and this area will also be shaded, rather dark. Have this pointy brow ridge. And the snout goes up a bit and then back down. And you want to make the eyes look kind of mean, because this dinosaur is no friend. Have the snout, or wait, the nostril up here at the very top. So it's got almost like a box, a square rectangular looking face. We should have started off with a square or rectangle instead of a circle. But yeah, we got this cavity here, just quite small. Then we're gonna have a bunch of lines coming up from the jawline there. We're gonna see a little bit of the brow ridge on the other side there. And then this ski slope on the back of the head. It's got some very interesting contours on the face. like little sub-cavities. But that looks pretty good. We'll add more detail once we get into the pen stage. Like some scales and stuff like that. The neck is actually almost more complicated than the whole face. It's got several layers of spikes. It's got like irregular, triangular, short spikes. It's got like at least 2 rows of that. The mean looking Scorpius Rex. And then I'm going to have a bunch of quills. The quills give it that cool like Indoraptor feel. And it's got not just 1 row but several rows of these quills. Very neat. So we're going to have some wrinkles, as I said earlier. This whole area is going to have a lot of shading. This is from a scene in Camp Cretaceous where the Scorpius Rex is looking at a tree that has been struck by fire and has been struck by lightning and is on fire. So it's going to have some stark shadows from that fire that's going on in the tree. So guys, be sure to pause the video if I'm going a little bit too quick for you. I always do that when I'm watching tutorials, so don't feel like you have to draw at the same speed as I'm doing. So I've got shading here. Doing a little bit of shading with my pencil before we get to the pen stage. And be sure to clean up with your eraser the spots that are obviously not going to be needed later. I see a few spots I need to erase. But yeah, overall I'm very happy with how this is coming along. And I think we can move on to the pen stage. Alright, so let's start off with the eye. Its eye is sort of squinting at the light. And the pupil is very focused. I'm going to put 2 prominent wrinkles. One is for the lid and just another wrinkle above the lid. I'm going to have some wrinkles underneath the eye. We can now begin shading. And I might use some Sharpies today. I was thinking about it earlier. Might bring in some of the big guns for the shading. So I have these like little they're called ultra fine point Sharpies. And while they're fine point, they're not as fine point as my pens, so they can cover a little bit more ground a little bit quicker than my normal pens. And if you guys are following along with just pencils, that's totally fine. You can make it look exactly the same, if not better, with pencils. I just like using pen and ink for my dinosaur drawings. And with pen and ink, your drawings will last longer, they won't fade as much. So we're going to put in the opposite brow ridge. With some cross hatching there. I think we can make the teeth a little bit bigger than I had originally drawn. So I'm going to back up the lip a tiny bit on our drawing. So be sure to take a step back and look at your drawings, guys, and make any adjustments you feel are necessary, because that's a very important part about art, is stepping back away and looking at your drawing from different distances and angles and seeing how you guys can improve it. Sometimes you can get it right on the first try, so that's always nice when that happens. So you have one big tooth and then like some smaller teeth. And as you guys can see, I'm not following the outline perfectly. I'm making little changes here and there. I'm going to put in some shading there for the cavity. And of course the nostril. Looking good. So for each tooth, let's have like a little bit of a wrinkle, a little line that goes up. And on the very edge of the mouth, it's going to be quite dark. So I'm going to bring in one of those fine point Sharpies. We'll darken this whole line up. So guys, I'm planning on doing a full body drawing of Scorpius-rex, depending on how popular this video is. So if you guys think I should do a full body, be sure to comment below. Because Scorpius-rex looks really cool, to be honest. So what made me decide to draw it was I think the real Joker, this one of my subscribers had commented something on my live stream yesterday while I was premiering my Carcharodontosaurus first Spinosaurus drawing video. So I got to chat with some of you guys yesterday, and I think, yeah, the real Joker said, oh, you need to do Scorpius-rex. So I'm like, I'll add it to my list, and I did. And I looked at a bunch of different pictures, and this was my favorite one at first. But I did find a really cool full body picture of Scorpius-rex that I plan to do in the future. So yeah, let me know if you guys are interested in that, and I will speed up the process. So right now I'm adding shading to the back here, to the back of the head. It's looking really good. Nice contrast going on. Let's continue the bottom jaw. Bottom jaw is going to go upwards like that. And it's slightly cracked open, like very slightly. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading between the different teeth. Like so. And we can also put some more, yeah, just wrinkles and scales on the face. We want to make it look a little bit more 3D. Scorpius-rex is like really, yeah, like bony looking skin. It's pretty rough. So add some scales. Some more hatching. It's got like a little secondary cavity right here, which is kind of interesting. This poor beast has been starved. It is a bit of a shrink-wrapped dinosaur. Alright, we can add a little bit of scales here on the ridge of the face. Make it nice and bumpy. Two more lines. Yep, it's looking good. I'm going to switch out to another one of those Sharpie pens. Do some shading underneath the bottom jaw. Yeah, if you ever see an iguana, you'll notice they have a bunch of like scaly skin hanging from their bottom jaw. Makes their heads look a lot bigger. And in the animal kingdom, like, size is a big deal. So if you can look bigger, it's always to your advantage in the dominance hierarchies. You could even use a darker Sharpie, or I mean a less fine-tipped Sharpie for this spot, because it's so dark, it's pretty much all black. This is from like a nighttime scene, so that's why it looks so dark. I haven't really watched much of Camp Cretaceous, I've only seen little clips on YouTube. But I assume they have more made of dinosaurs like Scorpios Rex. So let me know if you guys want me to draw anything else from Camp Cretaceous in the comments below. I'm going to try and knock out all the areas we need to use the Sharpie in right away. I guess back here we'll use a bunch of Sharpie. The back of the neck. But I want to leave space, little spots for where the spikes are going to be. And once you draw something with Sharpie, it's like permanent. It's very hard to erase it. It's pretty much impossible. But yeah, this whole right side is going to be, it's like a moon eclipse. It's going to be all shaded over. Completely black. I'm going to get it done early on. And the contrast might look too high to you guys, but we will blend it in with the pens and fine tip Sharpies. Looks good. I think that'll be it for the Sharpie. A little bit around the shoulder here. Maybe a few more just wrinkles. And we will put our Sharpie away. Alright guys, I think the next stage is going to be to tackle... Well, actually we haven't finished the bottom jaw yet, so we'll do that and then we'll go to the spikes. Got a bunch of wrinkles there. The skin hanging down from the neck also needs a few more wrinkles. Put that in. I want to shade around the teeth carefully. Don't want to get any marks on the teeth. I think I have to do a little bit of erasing because I have some pencil marks on my teeth. It's like being the dentist, you're like whitening the teeth. Could also erase a little bit over here around the eye. Just makes the drawing look a little bit cleaner. You want to make your lines kind of curved to give the bottom jaw some shape. Now, I will probably add scales to the skin of the Scorpius-rex later on. Scaling is kind of like a boring process. I usually like time-lapse that or something. Okay, so we're going to put some more lines here. The head is pretty much complete, guys, so that's good news, and we can move on to the neck. So as you can see, I've started to work on the quills. We're just going to pretty much trace some of the outlines we did earlier. You want to keep them nice and skinny. Make them too thick, then they'll look more like spikes instead of quills. I mean, I guess you could call them spikes, but yeah, they look more like quills to me. It's got different sized ones and they're pointing in different directions. It's become the new fashion trend for InGen to make spiky dinosaurs. Nice. I don't want to put too much in or else it'll start looking like hair or something, like a mullet. And they sort of fade off at the base of the neck, at the bottom of the neck there. I think I'll add one more and that'll be it. That looks good. Very cool. We can now begin to put in the shorter, more like armor spikes on the neck here. These are for more like protection against other predators. The neck on any animal is a very vulnerable spot, so they have to protect it. I mean, lions have a good deal because they have the mane to protect their necks. And I bet it does something to help. Me and my brothers have always argued what if a tiger could beat a lion in a fight. It's actually a very interesting discussion because I always think the tiger would win, and my brother thinks the lion would win. So let me guys know who you think would win. I think tigers are just too big for the lion to win, and tigers can be very fierce as well, and their measurements are just larger. So it's the bigger of the two cats. So that's why I think it would win. But the lion does have the mane, so. And some people are like, oh, lions are like, yeah, fiercer than tigers. But I'm like, tigers are equally fierce and intelligent. I feel like I'd rather go hunting after a lion than I would after a tiger. The tiger seems so quiet and just stealthy. Alright guys, I'm adding little spikes here and little studs. The neck looks really good. Nice and complicated. We can move on to the throat area of the neck. So for the throat area, you want to focus on making it look nice and wrinkly. Like so. We'll put its broad shoulders in. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but these Sharpies have like a weird, like bluish purple tone to them, which I don't like very much. So I always have to edit the pictures later to make the drawing look completely black and white. I mentioned that in my last tutorial, but yeah. I wish they could be completely like ink jet black, whatever you want to call it, like just normal black, not with these weird like bluish colors. They're faint, but you can still notice them when you compare it to like a completely black Sharpie or something. So I'm adding some skin texture here. And I said we would fade this, so we will try and fade it so it doesn't look so contrasty. That looks nice. And as I said earlier, you can add scales all over to bring your dinosaur to a higher level of detail. I mean, the drawing looks great already. I'm very happy with how this is looking. And the cool thing is, guys, the more you practice, the better you're going to get, the faster you're going to be able to draw. Practice literally does make perfect in the end. And hopefully you guys will learn your own new techniques and stuff like that. And I challenge you guys to try and use different mediums as well. Like, I know I'm always using pen and pencil, but it's cool to try and do it with like using a few, like a limited set of color pencils, different things like that, to challenge yourself. So yeah, guys, I think there's nothing left to do on this drawing except for maybe a few scales and a few more lines, but we will go ahead and sign our drawings here in the corner. We are in the last days of 2021. So exciting. So if you guys found this video helpful, be sure to leave it a big thumbs up. Comment down below if you think I should do Scorpius-rex full body, and I will do it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.